Fire them up. That's what we do at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up right here on 103.9 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. No one cares about Facebook, and we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 103.9 WYAB, help us grow the station, build the channels, like, share, and subscribe to the stream right now. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a Democrat. And go ahead and follow me on X at Andrew Gosser, ANDREWGASSER. I'll tell you what, I've been fighting this wall on X for over a year now, between 7,400, 7,300, 7,400, 7,300. I posted that video from 2011, over 1,100 followers, new subscribers to X. I really appreciate it. It went viral in my world. 177,000 views is pretty good in my book. If you want to give us a call today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. And the mission here, no matter what's going on X, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? You all are the saints. Blessed are your eyes because they see, and blessed are your ears because they hear. And on this show, our eyes are wide open, and we don't have a lot of earwax in our ears. We're listening to what people are saying. We're not blinded by the sultry dancers over at Hal and Sal's or Hal and Mal's. We're not blinded by the drag queens, which I guess is where we're going to start. And we'll weave in the X stuff too, but I want to start with this because some people just don't get it. Federal district judge allows sexually explicit shows for children. This is in Texas. They passed a law saying ban the drag queens, ban the drag queens. Attorney General and candidate for U.S. Senate Ken Paxton has already announced that he will appeal the decision. And here they have a dude dressed up like a chick, and it's demonic. It's demonic, just like that Lindsay chick up in New England who heard voices telling her to do it and never heard those voices again. That's demonic too. That's demons whispering in her ear. But what do I know? A federal judge in Houston has blocked Texas law prohibiting explicit sexual performances in front of children. Does that mean we can open up strip clubs next to churches and next to neighborhoods now? We're allowing explicit performances in front of children, finding it unconstitutional. Ken Paxton says he's going to appeal it. U.S. District Judge David Hittner of Southern District of Texas has blocked the bill. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's play a game saying, who nominated that district judge? Was it the current president, Donald J. Trump? No. Was it former president, illegally elected president, by the way? He shouldn't even be having president by his name. The illegally elected Joe Biden? No. Was it one of the deep state judges snuck through the first Trump administration? No. Was it the Obama administration? No. Was it the George W. Bush administration? No. Was it the Clinton administration? No. Was it the George H.W. Bush administration? No. Was it Ronaldus Magnus? Yes. He was appointed by Ronaldus Magnus back in 1986, ladies and gentlemen. When I tell you that the deep state plays a long game, it plays a long game. Now it's going to get appealed and it's going to get overturned because there's no way that a dude dressed like a chick should be shoving his junk into a 7-year-old's face. If we're just being brutally honest about it. But this is what's happening inside America. It is the high trust society is just being morally torn down. You can't tell me that in 1986 that these drag shows were openly being done in front of kids, sexually explicit. Now they had drag shows where they had the kids reading the book on TV. I can remember seeing that. I think it was in the 80s. Maybe it was the 90s. I don't remember being a kid actually watching it as a kid, but I remember seeing it going, "What the hell is this?" But that is what's happening to our society here in America. And we're wondering what's going on. We've got a woman who murdered her 3 kids. I don't care why she murdered them. And ladies and gentlemen, I could take the next 2 hours of the Andrew Gosser show and make it entertaining as heck, just playing some of these censored out Tic Tac videos of women going off the deep end over this Lindsay Cohen case, saying how they support her, how they do that. And it just reminds me of a clip, but I want to read this text because they say that I don't read texts enough. Text coming in from the show on Monday before yesterday's doctor's visit. So funny that you mentioned that maybe women should not have been given the right to vote. I am a woman, and I have said that before because we are too emotional and we can't just see the facts. That's why our civilization and country is in trouble that it's in. And she's got the crying emoji. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in life there are epic songs that just need to be played, and this is one of them. And if I get the copyright strike, I get the copyright strike. But this is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you listen to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. And for some of you, this is going to be a big nostalgia slash dopamine hit, but we got to do it.
We're fierce, we're feminists, and we're in your face. They buy you dinner, open your door. Other than that, what are they good for, men? We're feminists, and we're in your face. Talking about men. We're fierce, we're feminists. They all want a girl, just like the girl. Marry dear old dad and make me so mad, men. Talking about men. Well, you can't beat 'em up 'cause they're bigger than you. You can't live with 'em and you just can't shoot 'em, man. We're fierce, we're feminists, we're young men. We're fierce, we're feminists. Talking about men. Men. Talking about men. We're fierce, we're feminists.
Shout out to Maha Rushy. Shout out to Rush Limbaugh Program, EIB Network, cited 7 times, by the way. The feminist movement that Rush mocked since the early 1990s is now in what I call the apex of its power because it's about to blow itself up. Have you seen the lady who's going to be running for U.S. Senate in Oklahoma? I don't even want to play that clip. It's a scream session. It's literally a feminist crazy screaming, cutting off a head of now Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mullen and putting it in a book. And people are saying she's just mocking a movie. Look, that is unnatural behavior. That is psychotic behavior. When are the grown-ups gonna come back into the room? We see it in our entertainment. We think about the past 5 or 6 years, really. They destroyed Marvel with Captain or with, with Captain Marvel. She's a Mary Sue. You saw it in Star Wars with Rey Palpatine Skywalker, and, of course, the Acolyte, the power of one, the power of few, the power of many. It was like a 2016 Scream session in Star Wars with 2 lesbian mothers creating force life out of the Force, and no one wants this crap. No one believes this crap. But through social media, they're getting an incredible voice, and part of me says, "Andy, just make fun of it, just laugh along with it, have a good time with it." It's funny to watch some of these women melt down. But at the same time, then I think back to my rule of, "Andy, what are you consuming? Are you consuming good stuff for your brain, your mind? Are you instead of raising your voice, are you reinforcing your argument?" And I can truly say that me studying Christian apologetics and reading the Quran, studying the Quran is better than watching these women on TikTok. It's absolutely insanity to me. And I'm even seeing conservative women say, "Well, I don't agree with it, but if that's what they wanna do." No, it is not okay to be shaking your baby on TikTok, having a meltdown over this Lindsay Clancy. No, it's not okay to be throwing ice into a bathtub to show your rage over Lindsay Clancy. That is not adult behavior. That is emotional outbursts and uncontrolled rage. And again, it's going from a high trust society to a moralist society. We've given you a republic if you can keep it. You are listening to the Andrew Gossip Show on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back.
your cavities can actually repair themselves, and this is how. This is because the cavity
Oh, happy thoughts here at the Andrew Gosser Show. Happy thoughts at the Andrew Gosser Show. If you want to be part of the show, the number is 601-879-0002. But let me tell you about my brother Bruce over at iGear Optical and iGearOptical.com, iGearOptical.com. They're closing out in that back-to-school special, $99 eyeglasses. Includes custom fitting, hard eyeglass case, lens cleaning spray, and cleaning cloth. You ain't gonna beat that for $99. And with the way your kids go through glasses these days, and I say your kids, I mean all kids. I mean, they just beat the snot out of them. Go ahead and go over and see our brother Bruce over in Pearl off of Highway 80. You can find him on the web at iGearOptical.com. He's on Facebook, Google review. Bruce takes care of me, and I am sure I'm grateful for it. In fact, I got to go get another pair of readers because I got that pair of readers at home. I use it here at the show, and then I leave it at home. And now I'm going ahead and using my bifocals, which is good. The bifocals work great, but for full blown reading, it's kind of difficult. So, brother Bruce, thank you so much for supporting the Andrew Gosser Show. We really appreciate it. Now, I was talking about media, and specifically, I was talking about how Disney's destroyed the Marvels and cartoons in general, and how Disney has destroyed Star Wars. But brother, sister, let me tell you about a guy named Josh Dawes. If you go to my X account at Andrew Gosser, you're going to see a video that's there that this is required watching. Josh Dawes. And I've reached out to him privately because I want to have him on the radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, he's put together an adventure series that you can watch that can be in front of any age group. You're not going to have to worry about inappropriate situations, inappropriate suggestive things. It's open to everybody, and it's called The Continuing Adventures of Mary Sue. And if you don't know what a Mary Sue is, it is a Hollywood term for a girl who gets all the power but doesn't have any of the struggles. She doesn't go on the hero's journey like a Captain Marvel, like a Rey Skywalker Palpatine, like those chicks in the Acolyte. They just have all the powers. They can do all the things. They have all the power. Now, Josh Dawes used to work at Disney, and I believe Pixar too. Worked on such films as Toy Story 1 and 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he's come out with a new animated show that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bankrupt Pixar. I'm telling you, it's better than Minions. The animation is better than Minions. It is so good. And I actually followed him for a while. I heard about him from the network WDW Pro, which is Walt Disney World Professional. And they first did a profile and expose on Josh Dawes and the continuing adventures of Mary Sue. And I thought about playing a portion of it on the radio, but it's really important that you watch it, because when you see this animation, there's going to be something so unique about it that is going to completely blow you away. Number one, it's better than anything that Pixar is putting out today, anything better that Disney's putting out today. I say it's on par with Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 1, which, if we remember back in the day, it used to take roughly 4 hours to render one frame. And there was something like 77,000 frames. So it took a long time to render the movie. But this is so, it is so worth watching. And ladies and gentlemen, when you watch it, you are going to genuinely laugh your behind off, because it's making fun of all the tropes that we wish our entertainment would make fun of today. But the really other important thing about this, and I'm going to be truthful with you, I always tell you the truth, is that this is all AI. He is using all AI to do these scripts and graphics. And when you say, "Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to watch it now," I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, this is where entertainment is going. Animated entertainment is going. There was a new Star Wars movie about Darth Vader put out by a fan. It's better than anything Disney's put out. I would say only Darth Maul and season 7 of the Clone Wars was better than what this guy did. And he did it for nothing. The grip that is Hollywood around the necks of American entertainment is slipping away, which is a good thing. People get mad at me for talking about the movie Quiet on the Set, which you can only see on Rumble. You can't see it on YouTube because YouTube bans it. But it's called Quiet on the Set, and it just talks about all the grooming and shenanigans that happened at Disney Plus or Disney Kids and Nickelodeon. If you haven't seen Quiet on the Set, you should. Just like I tell you about Died Suddenly on Rumble. What's really funny is people go, they're totally dead set against me on Died Suddenly. And then all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, they watch it and they're like, "Andy, I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you." And since we kind of rolled in Quiet on the Set, it's only fitting that we bring up the sudden passing of Mark Cullen, ladies and gentlemen, or Peter Cullen. You like Peter Cullen, he's the voice of Optimus Prime. And I think I've got a short here. We'll just play it real quick.
Your dreams. The future is built on dreams. One shall stand, one shall fall. Peace is the right of all sentient beings. Autobots, transform and roll out!
Man, it's hard to believe that Optimus is gone. And people loved his work. We're just losing all sorts of great stars. We lost Peter Cullen, Tim Curry. Many of you know him from Home Alone 2, but I know him from The Hunt for Red October. Tim Curry died. And of course, we can't forget about Miss Dolly Parton dying. And I just think it's only appropriate we go out with one of her songs. And I know it's a lot of clip today, but hey, the show goes where the show goes. And we can't forget about this clip from Dolly Parton.
Well, hey, it's me. I'm finally going to get my vaccine. I'm so excited. I've been waiting a while. I'm old enough to get it, and I'm smart enough to get it. So I'm very happy that I'm going to get my Moderna shot today. And
now, real quick, before she got her Moderna shot, it is now public knowledge that she invested $1 million in Moderna before it went through the roof with the vaccine. Yup. Remember how I told you that how the grip of Hollywood's around the necks of America entertainment? Dolly's one of them. We all love Dolly, but let's not forget the good with the bad. Let's not remember what she tried to have all of us do. And by the way, I don't know one person who has refused the Moderna vaccine, who's refused the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, who's refused any of the vaccines and regretted it.
I wanted to tell everybody, I think you should get out there and do it too. I even changed one of my songs to fit the occasion. It goes, vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate. Vaccine, 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 vaccine. Because once you're dead, then that's a bit too late. So I just want to say to all of you cowards out there, don't be such a chicken squat. Get out there and get shot. Well,
Don't be such a chicken squat. Get out there and get your shot. Meanwhile, we've seen the effects of the vaccine. Arguably, it's one of the greatest cover-ups in the history of humanity. I think there might be one or two bigger. And it isn't a Republican thing, it's not a Trump thing, it's not a Democrat thing, it's not a Biden thing, it's something bigger. And I refuse to get put into this left versus right, Democrat versus Republican stuff. This is evil versus good. And right now the evil is winning. With this Lindsay Clancy thing, the evil is winning. That woman is evil. You know, there were all sorts of instances where men kill their wives and their kids, and you don't see men sitting there rioting and going on TikTok or Insta and protesting for the dude. You don't know what it's like to be a woman. Yeah, but you don't know what it's like to be a man either. And there's all points throughout history where we've gone through the same thing over and over again. Rome, Athens. Man, Jonathan Cahn's written an incredible book on it called Avatar. You should go read it and educate yourself. No, you won't go out and read a book for 5 hours. That'll take you 5 hours to read, but you'll sit there and watch and scroll TikTok for 5 hours, learning about how to bake bread or the greatest cuisine in Mississippi or thrifting in Mississippi. That's going to do a lot of good for your life. We are making life choices through TikTok and Instagram, and it's just the culture rot. And again, it's not a black thing or a white thing. It's not culture rot is culture rot. There is no race attached to it. If you attach race to the word culture rot, well, then that's your problem, not mine, and not society's either. When people refuse to go read books, when they refuse to improve themselves, when they think that they can get, man, I'll never forget. I was at the store and was asking this question. He goes, "Hold on, let me go look what TikTok has to say." And I'm sitting here thinking, this was 2023, 2022. And I'm sitting here thinking, my goodness, this young teenager is going to TikTok to get me information about what I need from a store. And what she pulled up was the wrong thing. Thank goodness I had enough sense in my head to say, thank you, but I'm not going down this route. I found another associate and ended up getting the right thing. It's incredible how we are just completely giving complete and total control to social media and AI and completely giving up our lack of common sense and the reality that's around us. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I know I did a lot of national stuff. We got to go with some local stuff. And there's two places I go to locally to begin with. Well, actually, three: Dark Horse Press, Jackson Jambalaya, and Magnolia Tribune. And I'm not sure what order it is, but I do love what Kingfish posts. And he put out a story today, down with the white folks. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. But I clicked it. Good headline, got me to click. Check out what has Skyhook and his crew of knuckleheads up in a tizzy. Who is Skyhook? I have no idea. I actually texted Kingfish and said, who is Skyhook? Didn't get back in touch with me. I guess I don't rate. And then he's got pictures of what appears to be a Facebook page, which I can't go to because I'm blocked off on. But it's got a picture of it. Volunteers plant trees along Capitol Green connector in Jackson. What the heck's wrong with that? The name of the Facebook page is Make It Make Sense Jackson, and they're trying to go and infringe on Clay's Save Jackson because he JXN. And I don't believe the Skyhook character could come up with anything original, so he had to go rip off Clay. But I digress. Is Jackson being gentrified? The check boxes keep adding up. Jackson is slowly getting better, but there are these group of people out there who do not want it to get better. And I don't get it. I was talking to somebody who has a vote, and he always talking about, how come you're so positive on Jackson? And I'm like, well, it's our state capital, and I think that there's some good bones there. The foundation is good. There's a lot of rot that needs to go. There's a lot of bad learning and a lot of bad heritage, and I'm not talking about racism or anything like that. I'm talking about poor learning, schools failing, poor decisions made by political leaders in and around the city of Jackson, and we're having come due. But there are some people who are so uneducated, apparently like the Skyhook fella. Is Jackson being gentrified? The check boxes keep adding up. Gentrification happens when reinvestment takes an area makes an area more desirable and expensive, and eventually creating pressure that can push longtime residents out. Think about that. Think about what this man is saying. I assume it's a man. Skyhook's got to be a man. There's not a woman named Skyhook, is there? No, Skyhook's got to be a man. De-investment, cheap property, public investment, public infrastructure, security and amenities, private development, rising in demand and costs, displacement pressure. And he goes on this whole litany of stuff. And, I drive down State Street almost every day, ladies and gentlemen, on my way home. Especially now with this new construction project that's about to go down, I've got to find a new way to get to Flora every day from Terry. Brother Kingfish finishes up the article like this, and I'll put it on X. It's worth the read, and some of the comments are hilarious too. I don't know who Skyhook is, but I do want to know who he is, because it isn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his Skyhook, who then Magic borrowed it. Two of the greatest players from the LA Lakers. Showtime, you know. By the way, Showtime, that LA Lakers team could beat any team in the NBA today. Not even debatable. Don't even come at me. There's no way. Those old LA teams, those old Celtic teams, even the bad boys of Detroit, they would clean the floor with today's sissified NBA. My apologies, Enos. Not calling you a wussy, but the rules are the rules. What's funny is that Skyhook gushes about community, but then raises hell about the improvement districts in Bellhaven and Fondren and downtown Jackson. The property owners are the ones who get involved who voted to create those districts and taxes themselves. Of course, the Skyhook crowd only favors community involvement when it's their community. Well, that's how it seems to work. I read that and I was like, "Oh, that's gotta make the show." What else has gotta make the show is the Magnolia Tribune. And when I see something written by Jeremy Pittari, I'm like, "I'm reading it. It's good." When I see something written by Frank Quarter, I'm like, "Okay, this is really good." And this story is written not only by Jeremy Pittari, but also Frank Quarter. Mississippi to receive nearly $200 million over 10 years in landmark settlement with Meta. Okay, $200 million. That's no small feat. And then I read the byline, and I'm like, "Oh, here we go again." Attorney General Lynn Fitch said the settlement with Facebook and Instagram requires groundbreaking changes to fundamentally change the way children engage online while protecting them from the harms of their mental well-being and physical safety. All I'm gonna say is that this is the biggest load of bull that's come out of the government in a long time. There is no amount of money that can repair the iPad kid generation. We've talked about it. Toots McCracken and I had a long discussion about it after she called me iPad generation kid. And I went full politician mode on her, and that ended real quick. Not good for her, Toots McCracken. That won't have her happen again. How are you gonna take $200 million and repair the lives of these kids who are so addicted to their iPads and iPhones? It's a stronger addiction than marijuana. It's a stronger addiction than nicotine. It's a stronger addiction than alcohol. It's a stronger addiction than cocaine. It's a stronger addiction than heroin. And they call Gen X feral. No, Gen X just knows when the BS meter, the fun meter gets pegged, and we just go into full rampage mode. Feral mode are these iPad kids when the power runs out on their device or the parents actually take away their devices. It's scary. These kids can't think, they can't process, they don't have anything, and now we're talking about, "Yay, we get $200 million or $270 million over 10 years if other platforms agree to comparable changes." Look, kids ain't changing TikTok. They're not gonna change, Snap. Now this is coming from Meta and Facebook, so that would mean Instagram, Facebook, and, I believe that's it. Meta, Facebook, and Instagram is what, Jeremy and Frank are reporting in this Mississippi Today article. For me, this really means nothing. Your kids are still getting groomed in online games. TikTok is still pushing communist and salacious behavior and programming your kid whether you want to or not. I see it in my kid. I see it in our kid's school. I see it in church. I see it in society. Sure, you'll sit down and watch a sermon or 2 from Pastor Vlad in a day, but then what comes on after that? When with great freedom comes great responsibility. With great intelligence comes great responsibility. We have never had more intelligence on the face of this earth in any time in the history of humanity. Unfortunately, wisdom is inversely proportional to intelligence. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. Exciting news, ladies and gentlemen. During the break, I got a message from Josh Dawes, the producer of The Continuing Adventures of Mary Sue. He's going to be on the program next week. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get it set up. I am so excited for this interview, ladies and gentlemen. I really am, because this is how we take back culture. This is how we take back entertainment. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go check it out. It's The Continuing Adventures of Mary Sue. Fellas, you will love it. The Sweet Bee loved it. I haven't shown Sweet Toots yet, but it's funny. And all I got to say is I see my niece in this. It's absolutely insane to me. And sometimes messages come through during the break, and we get them, and we just take advantage of them, ladies and gentlemen. In the next hour, we're going to have a lot of Harry Enton, ladies and gentlemen, because there are still some very foolish people in politics who think that Donald Trump is a bad word. And we can all agree that there's sometimes that there are people in our lives that they say something in a way that you agree with, but you wish they would have worded it different. And I'm not going to say anything different about Donald Trump, but I support him. He's my president, and the things that he's doing is making a lot of sense, even if the public doesn't see some of it right now. But we've got to talk about it because, ladies and gentlemen, there's a group of, I'm just going to say it, Republicans, dare I say, establishment, deep stater type Republicans, Dick Cheney types, who are thinking that this Trump train is running out of steam. Well, we're going to talk about this Trump train that's running out of steam, and I get it, man, because when I have brother Rick, who will be here tomorrow, talking about it, when I have brother Rick telling me how he's disenfranchised with the Republican Party, when I hear about how my senior political advisor, my oldest son Andrew, tells me how he's not happy with what's going on, when I have my middle son Austin telling me that stuff's not going on good, well then I've got to pay serious attention to what they're saying. But I also have to look at the bigger political picture too. And what I see coming down the pipe is a change in the way that the Republican Party operates in and of itself. And I'm telling you this, the changes that are going to come are going to have generational effect. Now, if he gets everything that he wants, which he won't, I think it's going to be a great thing. If we get the key provisions, it's going to be a great thing, but it's going to take longer to go. If we just get the ancillary, the things on the outside of the circle that aren't really going to have the impact, but it's going to make us all feel good. I co-sponsored the Save America Act. And isn't that just what people want? People just want people to stand up and be accounted for. I know that's what I want, and it's what I try to do every day that I come on this radio show, making sure that I do the appropriate show prep, making sure that I get everything lined up the way it needs to be. Next hour is going to be fire. You're definitely going to want to tell your friends and neighbors about it. Looking forward to it. Arsenal don't play this weekend, so that's going to give me a free weekend to build up, but they do play Monday, and we're going to have a great announcement about that. Don't go anywhere, anybody. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. It's top of the hour break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, brother Dogfish. It's been a good show, man. I hope you got to hear. We gave you a good plug. I need to come in and get another set of readers for the station. I keep on leaving the other readers at home when I'm doing my Bible study and show prep for equipping the saints with Sweet Bee. So we're gonna have to make that happen. That would be awesome, brother. I sure would appreciate it. Because I'll tell you what, doing shows with my bifocals, I can read just fine, but I have to keep on moving my head up and down to get the right prescription. And I think that's something to do with the Parkinson's and my eyes fluttering like they do. But I appreciate it. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show for hour number 2 on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. No one still cares about Facebook, even though Lynn Finch got us another 200 mil from Mississippi. And we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com, WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 1039 WYAB, help us build the station, grow the channel. Like, share, and subscribe right now. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a Democrat. Follow me on X. Incredible growth over the past couple of days. Really appreciate it. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. And the number, if you want to be part of the program today, is 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and blessed are your ears because they can hear. And we're seeing what's going on. We've got our ear to the ground. We're listening to what's going on. We can hear. And during the break, it was incredible, man. I heard from Brother Chris Tyner. Sent me a picture of a yummy chicken sandwich. Maybe it was a chicken biscuit with baby Jesus saying he missed me. And I got to stay in touch with him. I'll see him Saturday at our church event. Oh, that's right. I'm going to plug that too. Men, if you're looking to reconnect with God, we're having an event this Saturday from noon to 7. It's going to be awesome. And if you want to go, just shoot me a text at 601-879-5060. I'll make sure you get hooked up. Come spend an afternoon with godly men who are searching for Jesus. It'd be awesome. but I got a text from brother Chris. My daughter's texted me, let me know Optimus Prime died. My son, whose birthday it is today, sent me a text. It was just great off the air time while we're getting ready for this next part of the show. And I promised you it was going to be heavy with Harry Enton. And it's because I just want to prove to you guys that there's some of you out there, the doom and gloomers, and it's easy to get sucked into the doom and gloom. They crank it out there. They put it out there 99% of the time. But every once in a while, they'll pull back the curtain and it's that 1% where they're telling the truth that it's out there. And I don't there's no better way to cite this. I mean, MS Now / BS Always, that's just unwatchable and unlistenable. It's not good for the radio station. Um, for the 24,000 people in the demographic who are actually watching that hot garbage every day, that's your true democratic socialists of America right there. And it's bad stuff. People are saying you should play it so that we can hear it and understand it. No, you hear a little bit of it. That's all you need. But CNN, they've got about 200,000 in the demographic compared to Fox News, which isn't much better, but they're sitting at 3 to 4 million in the demographic. Listen to what Harry Enton says.
In the Senate, he has done very well. This is a reality check for you. That is, Donald Trump is still the sun on which the planets of the GOP revolve around. You could see it quite well here. Look at this. Trump endorsees won Senate primaries. If the person that he endorsed is not an elected incumbent, like Darlene Graham was, since
2022,
2022 or 2022 was about 95% of the time. Has that weakened it all this cycle? No, it has not. It has actually gotten stronger. Look at this. 100% of the time, if Trump endorsed a non-elected incumbent like Darlene Graham, they in fact won the Republican primary for United States Senate.
Think about that. If you are not an incumbent and Donald Trump endorses you, you're winning. Senators, state senators, congressmen, state reps, when Donald J. Trump decides to get involved in your race and he decides that he is going to come and invade your pool, you better be on his side. And this is what's happening here. Harry Enton is letting John Thune know that 2028 is coming around the corner. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith is like thanking Jesus that she endorsed all of Trump's nominees publicly and openly. And, like I met her last week, and I said it to her face then, and I'll say it now. She needs to come out publicly. If it's just a tweet, one of her tweet videos, or if she gets on one of the major news channels to say, I support the Save America Act, we need to get it done when we get back. It needs to happen. And then there's Roger Wicker, who is just thanking God that he isn't up for re-election in 2028. But Jim Thune is, and there's a list of people coming up for election in 2028. And when Trump has that kind of power and stroke, even if it drops to 80%, which it won't, but even if it drops to 80%, that's still a major overthrow of the system, which is what we genuinely want. Not an overthrow of our constitutional republic, but an overthrow of the people who we elect to run our representative republic. I was just reading a report, ladies and gentlemen, sad news, that the Republicans are going to have a secret vote to elect their next leader. No public vote. What's that tell you about the Republican Party? National. I think the Mississippi GOP, can we do things better? Yes. But I'll tell you what, we're a lot better than what they got going on nationally. And it takes time. It takes years. It takes vigilance. It takes lions. You a lion? You a lioness? Because it's going to take lions to go do lion things when it's come to be lion time. and I'm just letting you know I don't see a lot of lions out there.
Trump's name is still the one that GOP voters buy when it comes to Senate endorsements.
He went there, he spent money, he made a difference. And according to some measurements here, may have turned it around for her.
Yeah, I would say that this is probably the endorsement of Darlene Graham and getting her across the finish line in the Republican Party.
Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is like a key detail of this poll.
Is probably the strongest sign of Donald Trump's name being gold in Republican primaries to date. It's by far his most impressive performance, because just take a look here. It's according to the Castro prediction market. Chance to win the South Carolina special GOP Senate primary. Before the Trump endorsement, it was just 14%. Just 14%. The reason why Darlene Graham won that primary, won that nomination, is because of one name and one name only: Donald John Trump. This was his.
And he sounds like he's mad. You know the reason that he endorsed Darlene Graham is because she came out and said she supported the Save America Act and she would vote to stay in session until it got done. But John Thune used another Senate parliamentarian trick, if you will, another procedure that isn't widely practiced that a lot of people didn't know about, and put this Senate into recess. And it's hogwash. I know that most Republicans aren't happy about it. There are some that are happy about it. But most aren't. Most don't want to talk about it. Like, Andy, we got to talk about other stuff. No, this is what we have to talk about because it's what the people want to talk about. And quite frankly, Democrats want to talk about it too. And before people going, oh, Andy, this is the party getting too far right. This is going to hurt us in the general election. No, it's not too far right. This is where we're at right now, is center left back in 1970 and 75. The Republican Party is center left back in the 70s. It's true. And the Democrats are far left, and the DSA are trying to resurrect Stalin from the grave, Khrushchev from the grave, Mao Zedong from the grave. That's where the DSA is. We've proven it. That's not even me being hyperbolic. And they get on their Zoom calls and they proudly record them and put them out there. And then people, the normies, if you will, who are not aware of the culture of the DSA, they're absolutely mortified. And if it's in a very strong inner urban community like AOC, she's going to be fine. But like when you get into a state like Michigan and Michigan 13th district, I'll tell you what, those brothers and sisters over there, they are not having none of it. They are not having none of it. I've got audio somewhere of them coming out and supporting the Republican, Democrats for the Republican nominee up there. So to say that Trump is hurting the party, you're only kidding yourselves. With how the Democrats have gerrymandered states like Illinois and California, and how the Republicans have returned in kind in places like I think Kansas might have, but I'm thinking Texas and Florida. We're in the fight of our lives, ladies and gentlemen, and we don't even care because we still got the Arby's, we still got the Waffle House. No one really goes to Red Lobster anymore. We still got Longhorn Steakhouse. We still have Logan Steakhouse. We still got gas under $4. We're basically still living large. And we're not feeling the pain yet. And I haven't even talked about Trump trying to buy up Argentinian beef to make prices lower in America. But I got something to say on that. But let's finish this.
Most impressive endorsement to date in terms of getting someone actually nominated because she basically stood no chance. Once that endorsement came in, her chances rocketed well north of 50%. And last night, she won that nomination.
And it's largely because Republican primary voters are hugely supportive of the president.
You know, sometimes we have these polls and, you know, they're favorable polls or approval polls and they're in the moment. But I just.
And I was having a conversation with a Republican yesterday, and, you know, he says, Trump isn't popular. Trump isn't popular. Well, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This does blow me away a little bit.
Love this one. Okay. The president Republicans most admire. It's Donald Trump. This is a historic comparison. A majority of Republicans say, 53% say he is the Republican president they most admire. Ronald Reagan, who traditionally has won that much, Donald Trump nearly triples up on this. Reagan at just 18%. And then Abraham Lincoln, who by most historic accounts is the greatest president of all time. But Republicans say that the president that they most admire by what is this? This is 6-7 times as many, Donald John Trump at 53%.
Now, I can answer this a little bit because Ronald Reagan was a very good president for the time. He got us back on track, walked us off the brink of the Cold War. Jimmy Carter almost destroyed the nation, much like Joe Biden almost destroyed the nation. So Reagan gets that bump. But like my senior political advisor, Mr. Andrew Gosser, my son, and we got a good joke going there, but my son would say, Dad, it's because of Ronald Reagan that Pfizer has immunity with the clot shot today. And he's he's a senior millennial, elder Gen Zer. And I'm just telling you, the millennials and the Gen Zers do not look at Ronaldus Magnus the way that many Gen Xers would look at Ronaldus Magnus, although they didn't live through those times. But yeah, it's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Let's finish this up before we go to break.
Easily crushing Abe Lincoln at 8%. And the Elon poll showed that he was the greatest president as well, Donald
I feel
Trump.
like this slide might end up on a printout on his desk sometime soon if he hasn't seen it already. Harry, in terms of who the president is endorsing, what we have going forward, what races are still out there?
Yeah, okay. You know, how about in North Carolina, right? Or New Hampshire, not North Carolina.
It's the North Carolina of New England.
That's right. So North Carolina, New England. Chance to be the New Hampshire Republican Senate nominee. John Sununu, who Trump has endorsed, a 97% chance. Scott Brown, 3%. That matches the polls, according to the Kalshi prediction market. These odds are.
Harry,
and it just goes to show you when Trump gets into a race, especially in the Republican primary, they're going to win. We've got the national U.S. Senate races to point at. We've got the Indiana state Senate races to look at. He's actually won all of them. That one that they thought he lost, she ended up winning by 3 votes, ladies and gentlemen. 3 votes. Do not tell me your vote does not matter. Do not tell me that you're not going to go out and vote. And we've got an awesome text coming in, but I'm going to save it for the other side of the break. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. The chuck or the mud. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. My good friend Marie Thomas just sent me some texts. People are watching the Facebook stream. I have no idea what's going on over there. I can't see any of the chats over there. I'm banned over there. It stinks. But Top, I see you tagging in. And Top is an E9 in the Army. And I should know what an E9 is in the Army. I don't. Shame on me. I just know that I call him Sir or Top. And that's good to go. And great comments over there talking about how much he likes the webcast. I appreciate it. You know, that's how the word gets out. People go ahead and repost it on their own Facebook pages, and away it goes. But Rodrowski's checking in, and he says, we need to revoke the 17th U.S. constitutional amendment. No accountability. We need a big stick to loop them in or whoop them in line. We are living in now 40 trillion in debt. And brother, you're right. And that 40 trillion, that is no small number. And that this is going to be what Trump is going to have to overcome. This is going to be his lasting legacy. And I know what the play is, and I can say it, and I would sound like being like a Alex Jones in 2018, but I'm not. I'm being serious. Trump is betting on the next form of crypto, the next U.S. dollar, the petrol dollar. It's what runs the world right now. The world runs in dollars, and what they're hoping for between StarMind, which is the data centers in space, which if you haven't been following SpaceX lately, they just are announced they're building 10 new launch pads in Louisiana, ladies and gentlemen. 5 launch complexes with 2 launch pads in each complex. It's spectacular. They're actually reclaiming and redesignating a lot of the marshlands that have been eroded away through hurricanes. I don't know how the hell they're going to do it. All I know is that when Elon says he's going to do something, he does it. And people who are betting against him are doing that. So you got StarMind. You've already got Falcon 9, Starlink, Starshield, Starfall producing stuff in space and then having it go to ground. They've got the Gigafactory where they're producing more chips than NVIDIA. And they're hoping that they get to this point. Yeah, brother, I hear you. He says crypto is risky. Love the idea of data centers in space. Yeah, Elon. I can't say that. Sometimes you get told stuff, and you're like, you shouldn't have been told that, and you just kind of get the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and yep. And I'm never gonna voluntarily disclose something I wasn't asked to disclose it. But all I'm gonna say is that they've been working on StarMind for a lot longer than people think, and it is a lot closer than people think. This SpaceX mission that they're going to with Artemis and NASA next year, that's dead food, man. That's actually slowing them down in some respects because they're going to have to focus on building a special starship just for that mission when they're all about producing the same type of ship with the same capability and the StarMind out there. That's where they're going to get. That's where it's going to become great, big. And then comes the Optimus robots, which actually brings me to a great video that I have saved somewhere in the stack of stuff. It happened. Oh man, where is it? I know I have it here. I can't find it. Oh, this stinks. But basically, it's the Chinese Olympics for robots. And it's got this robot running the 100-meter dash, and it gets up to ridiculous speed, and it can't stop, and it smashes into the wall and blows itself apart. And my point to this, me being the military guy that I am, the profession of arms, I'm like, what if we just build 100,000 of these robots and just start running them into the troops? You don't even have to have explosives on it, just the kinetics of being rammed by something that fast. It's scary. So you got Starmind, then you've got the Optimus robots, you got the Tesla cars, you've got the Gigafactory producing the chips, and I genuinely believe that President Trump and those that be are hoping for a new currency that isn't necessarily the dollar. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Because 40 trillion, that's a lot of simoleons, ladies and gentlemen. And then, oh, you also have the nuclear energy, which I forgot to talk about. Valor Technology, they're already building their second, walk-away nuclear reactor, 250 kilowatts. Andy, that's small. Yeah, but when they're producing a 250 kilowatt, nuclear reactor every day, you daisy chain those real quick, and the footprint is a magnitude of 100x smaller than the nuclear reactors that we have in Mississippi today. Energy is gonna be in competition. And the other thing about these nuclear reactors that nobody's talking about is that they can split atoms and do chemistry. So they can literally take that energy and produce gasoline out of that nuclear energy. They can take that nuclear energy and produce silver or gold or platinum or other rare earth minerals. That's the technology that Valor's bringing to the table, and people aren't paying attention to that yet. And I know this is a lot of sci-fi craziness, and wasn't really planning to get into it on the air, but that's where the show goes sometimes, you know? Yep, crypto is risky. Love the idea of data centers in space. I mean, it only makes sense. And by the way, I have talked to some data center people, and the older data centers do dry up a lot of the water, but the new data centers that they're coming out with are still gonna produce a lot of heat, but they're not supposedly gonna use all the water. Which kinda makes me wonder, we've got air conditioning. I mean, if you haven't seen the Fat Electrician episode on YouTube of air conditioning, the greatest invention of the 19 or the 20th century, you need to go watch that, and Fat Electrician is, like, mandatory for your sanity. And remember, it's never a war crime the first time. It's true. Well, we'll take a little break, and then when we get back actually, as we go to break, I wanna talk about Martin's Downtown. And, today, their special is meatloaf, and I'm not getting paid to do this in by any way, shape, form, nature, relationship. But they did have the Arsenal game last Friday, and they're having the Arsenal game this Monday at 2 o'clock, and I'm gonna be there, and they're a great sponsor of WYAB. So if you wanna come and meet me, 2 o'clock Monday, we're gonna watch the Arsenal against Aston Villa, and you can watch a real football team play. None of this American pigskin stuff, but real football where people actually kick the ball with their feet, bop it around with their head, and see what a real athlete's all about. Love to do that. Martin's Downtown. It's gonna be on Monday at 2 o'clock. It's gonna be on USA Network. I know they have it, so I'm gonna be there, and I thought, "Hey, this would be a great time to engage my audience a little bit." I know a lot of people be working blue collar crew. I know a couple of you are Arsenal fans, you let me know. I know you won't be able to make it, but, it's a chance for me. I don't watch games on the weekend out in town, and I don't watch games on Sundays. But anytime I can support Martin's Downtown and support our WYB, I'm gonna do that. You are listening to The Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back. Hey, we're on commercial. Hang on for a second.
Hello?
We're on a commercial. We'll be right back.
Yes, I wanted to ask you something, though, Mr. Gusson.
Okay.
This is Danny Johnson.
Wait.
But it's not on the subject you're talking.
And we are back here on the Andrew Gossett Show. I had a caller call in during the break. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're on the air. I'm sorry I didn't get to you right away, but you just called it that sweet spot where it's too early to answer your question, and I got to get that hard break in. So go ahead with your question.
Oh, but what I want to ask you was some questions not related to the subject you're on right now. So I'm just saying I didn't want to interrupt what you're talking about. So I'm just wondering, is that permissible to bring up a question about something else?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, well, this is so different from what you're talking about. I'm Janie Johnson. I met you over there with Mr. Kim Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one, Janie Johnson, with the Caring and Sharing School. What I want to ask... I
remember you, ma'am. I remember.
Okay, thanks. What I wanted to ask you was, we call so much stuff mentally ill. What about morally ill or morally deficient?
Ooh, I think you're exactly on point there. We're no longer a high trust society that's built on our Christianity. We're all about what we got on our iPads and iPhones, and we're replacing it. And I think you're right on target with it.
But everything is not mentally ill. I mean, some things are morally wrong. And when we say morally, it doesn't mean Christian. It doesn't have to be Christianity.
I think that maybe we disagree there, but I think that's where our morals stem from. Are from Blackstone, Deuteronomy, Leviticus. That's where our founding fathers formed our moral fiber for America, and for the West, for that matter, in my opinion.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, to be a Christian and to accept Jesus Christ as Savior, to go to heaven when you die. I'm saying I can be a morally good person and not meet that qualification. I'm just saying that something is just morally right because just civility, just being decent human beings.
I completely agree with that, but there are people out there who say that we can't draw our morals from our religious backgrounds. It comes from something bigger, and I always go back to, well, what's the bigger? And it's ultimately goes back to God. But there are people out there who will, for instance, argue that what happened in Nazi Germany was not morally wrong. Now, you and I might think it is, but they can make an argument from their moral backgrounds, and they're saying that they're morally right, Yes.
But see, the golden rule doesn't mention God or any morality. It just says treat people like do it to others as you have them do it to you. Now, that would be that's a golden rule, would be a good rule for society, period. That would help us out a whole lot. If you don't want anybody to steal from you, so you don't steal from them. And you don't want anybody to kill members of your family. I mean, just common sense, too.
Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Yep, I agree with you.
So I'm saying we might not want to go to the scripture and mention it at that part. Well, that's good too. But I mean, we have to have a source, and I agree with you. You have to have a moral source. You have to have. It's all going to go back to God. I don't know why we trying to shun the source. How can we have without the source? You have to have a source for things. You have to have something measured by.
I would agree with you. Why can't we? But why can't we go back to Scripture? Scripture is great.
Yes, but see now, what I'm saying is I agree because I'm Christian,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just saying that there's so much we could say before we hit that line particularly. There's a whole lot we could say. It seems like we shun everything about doing right and going straight. Like we shun everything. Talking about people getting offended, and I don't understand that either. What's the matter with my getting offended? What's so sacred about my feelings that it should be your responsibility to see that I don't get hurt? I don't understand that. I don't understand why you should be why I should make you very concerned about my feelings. Look like that's my business to make sure that I don't get hurt. I'll be mature enough, strong enough to take the good with the bad. I don't understand that one either.
It's really hard because, and I think you're preaching to the choir. Who cares if you get offended? Who cares if I get offended? I think what happens is once you get offended, how you act out is what's getting people a little bit freaked out. Some people get offended and they act the fool. It used to, when I was called a fool when I was younger, that used to mean you were an idiot and you needed to change your ways. Now you act the fool and they think that you're giving them a compliment.
I kind of want to. I think I'm doing the opposite. What I'm saying is, personally, why should I expect you to be concerned about my feelings? I'm saying my responsibility. It's my responsibility to be mature enough to realize that there's some positives and negatives in life. I shouldn't make it. You got to tiptoe around trying to be careful not to hurt my feelings. Therefore, you can't say what needs to be said because you might offend me. I don't think that should be your business. Your business should be to be as truthful and tactful as you possibly can. You, the speaker, that's what I'm saying. And I, as a listener, should realize that what you're saying at all, I might not agree with it, but there's no reason for me to be offended unless. See, I have to allow you to offend me. See, that's my choice.
Ooh.
That's on me. See, I don't allow people to make me angry. That's a choice I made. See, because if I allow you to offend me, that means I allowed you to be superior to me. If I allow you to make me angry, that means I gave you the power, the authority to do that. And I don't give that to you.
You know what, ma'am? I'm just going to say it like this. It's not intelligence that is coming from the lips of your mouth right now. It is wisdom. And everybody needs to hear that, because I'm telling you what, the offense stuff that you just talked about is 100% true. And I live by the same thing, by the way, ma'am. So I'm grateful for you.
Yes, sir. And then, well, I have a lot to say. I never finished talking about it because I like life and living. But one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do I have? I can say something else.
We got about a minute left.
Okay. Now, like when we talk about abortion, we talk about abortion, how wrong it is. But what about what the cause for a need for abortion? When are we going to address that one? That part.
With the cost?
Abortion doesn't just jump and just drop down. What were the process? What led up to the need for an abortion? Do we ever address that?
It is the lack of having morals. It's being weak in the flesh, and I'm guilty of it, just like most men are, just like most women are. And we used to make it to where it wasn't so common to do that and have babies out of wedlock, but now it's commonplace. The government supports it.
The innocent child had to give up his life, total life.
Yep.
For a mom and dad, 7 or 8, 9 minutes of thrill.
Yep.
That's not the child. It's just why the child paying the ultimate price.
You know what? One great pro-lifer from Illinois, and this is what really turned me from being pro-choice to pro-life, by the way. She said to me, her name was Penny. Oh, I can't remember her last name. But she says to me, she goes, Andy, abortion is the only crime where the victim pays the ultimate price.
Yes.
And I was just like, ooh, that hit me. Ma'am, I got to run.
Okay, thanks for the time.
Oh, I
Bye-bye.
appreciate it. Take care. Call again. I love calls like that. And I do try to stay on topic. But with things like that, you just absolutely have to do that. And Rodowski's saying God first. I will continue to make the claim, sometimes eloquently, sometimes not, saying that Christianity is the root of where all of our morals stem from, whether we want to follow them or not. That's another discussion. But that's where right and wrong comes from. And people sit there and want to have these arguments with me, but they've never read Blackstone. They've never read our founding fathers, the Federalist Papers. When I went through school, I was the last class that was required to read a couple of the Federalist Papers, not all of them. The classes before us had to read all the Federalist Papers, and they were much more knowledgeable on the Constitution than these kids are today. But we got these iPad generation kids going around there. Look, I only got like a minute or so left, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been following me on X. I've had the biggest post ever. I'm officially calling it viral. It's at 178,000 views, 8,600 likes, and 4,100 retweets with a bunch of really ticked off Islamists. And this is the F-15 pilot and congressman. And when I did my commentary last Monday, when I posted this, what I said is he said he was flying on 9/11, and I said, you flying on 9/11 has nothing to do with it. Sir, Mr. Congressman, I was wrong. I did not have the information that you were a F-15 pilot, and whether you're in the Chuck or the Mud Hen, the single seater or the family model, that gives you street cred. When you put your butts on and going back to it and finding about, he's in Gulf War One. This guy understands the enemy. And I know that there's a lot of people listening to me who don't follow me on X, but I'll tell you what, when you have something go 178,000 views on X, that's big time. 8,800 likes, 4,100 retweets. Wow, you guys are incredible. And I know that it's been picked up internationally, and maybe I have to do more content like that. Maybe I start paying more attention like Clay does. Clay's got it right. But remember that this video that I put out there was originally put out in 2011, and it has been it's went into the black hole that is YouTube purgatory, and we pulled it out and we put it on X for memoriam. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. All right, Setch, if you're listening, this segment's coming up for you, my man. Miss Adriana, how you doing? I love you, girl. Can't wait to see you. Oh my God. It figures that this segment bumper music would be the Afro Man because I got high. You know, it's been a great show. I really had a good time being in the studio. Yesterday was day off, had to take care of a few things, and it all went good. Um, there's some really great stuff that's out there for people who have Parkinson's. Don't give up the hope. You got to fight though. And even though you can't do some of the things you used to do, sometimes your memory goes a little bit. Do not give up. You do not quit. Never quit. You might be removed from training for performance purposes, but you didn't quit. You never said, I quit. You never rang the bell. Screw that. And I mean that with all sincerity. You don't quit, no matter what it is. You do not quit. I'm not a quitter. If they performance drop me, but I'm not giving up. But today is a special day, ladies and gentlemen. Very special day because today it is my son's birthday. Son, you're old, man. You're not 30 yet, but you're pushing it. You're pushing it. And he is driving across country, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to get an adult vehicle now. He's getting rid of his youthful Mustang. I got pictures of him doing donuts in Splinter's front yard with Toots McCracken. He's driving. He's got his beautiful woman with him, Miss Adriana. I love you, girl. You are something else to me. I love you with all my heart. From the moment I laid eyes on you, you just we're two peas in a pod. We got to get that cookout going too. We got to make that happen. But today is my son's birthday, and I just want to tell the story of how my son got his name. Now, my first son, his name is Andrew Edwin. My first name, which came from my grandfather, which came from the Bible. Andrew's one of the first apostles. John Baptist, we all know. But Edwin is his father's first name. Never got to meet him. He passed away before I had a chance to meet him. And so my wife, Tiffany, at the time, we were going back and forth about what we were going to name this kid. And I wanted to name him the German name of Matthew, Matthias Paul, after my uncle. And his mom kept on saying, nope, you're not doing that. And we were at a restaurant and this song came on and I'm like, okay, there's no way in hell she knows the name of the song. Tiffany, if you know the name of this song, you can name the kid. And it was Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Right Round. And I think she knew it instantly, but she played the part. She played the part and she goes, Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Right Round, Right Round. And I'm just sitting there going, oh no. And she goes, well, I get to name the kid. And I'm like, well, what are you going to name him? And that, Austin, is the no BS how you got named Austin. We still kept Paul, but you've lived the life of Austin. You've gone out there and you've done it your way. And son, I am so proud of you. You go out there, you take no prisoners. I almost said a bad word right there. Everybody, continue to listen to the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Be blessed. Yes and amen.